Welcome to the Sanctuary. I'm Kyle, and I'm here to tell you, never be afraid to step into the pleasure den of the absurd. Today is January 9th, 2024, and today is the 80th birthday of Jimmy Page. And there he is! I'm just going to quick run through a lot of the things that are here in the Sanctuary that are Jimmy Page related, and don't mind my bandaged hands. It's not as bad as it looks. Starting off with DVDs, Led Zeppelin, Song Remains the Same, double disc edition. It's got 4 songs on it that really, if they were in the movie, would have made this movie even better. Celebration Day, Over the Hills and Far Away, Misty Mountain Hop, and The Ocean. A must-have for any Zeppelin fan. An even bigger must for a Zeppelin fan, the 2 DVD set, which is just called Led Zeppelin DVD. It covers their entire history from the beginning to the end with all sorts of extras on every level. Every little nook and cranny of this DVD is just jam-packed with Zeppelin video artifacts. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Unleaded, a full pro shot concert, Seattle 1977 of Led Zeppelin. Various clips from their tour of 1977, synced up with audio of the concert, and it also includes a brief clip of Keith Moon, which was documented on the famous bootleg for badge holders only. A boot of Led Zeppelin at the O2 show from December 10, 2007. I got this about a month after the concert. Page and Plant and the Walking in the Clarksdale Band on the Jools Holland show, uncut with rehearsals and their full on-air performance. Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes recorded live, over 2 hours long, pro shot stereo. I have a video series on this channel called Jewels in the Collection, and this is one of them, and I have a video for it. This is footage filmed for MTV from Phoenix, Arizona, September 17, 1988. This is the Outrider tour. I saw Jimmy Page in October of that year on the Outrider tour. On to CDs, the Yardbirds, Cumular Limit, 2 CDs. It has them doing Dazed and Confused on here. Do you remember the first Led Zeppelin box set that was released on CD in the early 90s? Well, there it is. Zeppelin, BBC Sessions, really cool. Promo CD for no quarter. This has a 30-minute profile with music along with selected songs that were recorded on this session, and it has a 30-minute answers only section. Pretty neat. Walking into Clarksdale, Page and Plant. I think this is one of the best things Jimmy Page has done post-Zeppelin. Well worth a re-listen if you haven't heard it in a while. Here is a recording on CD. The Montreux Jazz Festival 2001, Page and Plant, playing with a drummer and bass player that I'm unfamiliar with, introduced by Claude Nobbs and Amit Erdogan. They do Good Rockin' Tonight, My Bucket's Got a Hole in It, Heart in Your Hand, Candy Store Rock, Endless Sleep, How Many More Years, My Baby Left Me, and Baby Let's Play House. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Pretty good. Pretty good. On to the vinyl. Is Jimmy Page actually on this? I don't know, but the cover is great. Double LP that I got when I was in high school. Original recordings by James Patrick Page and Gus Dudgeon. Compiled and selected by John Tiven. Includes early tracks of recorded jams with just Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton, two guitarists, just playing along with each other. It also includes John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, the All-Stars featuring Jimmy Page, the All-Stars featuring Jeff Beck, Cyril Davies and the All-Stars, and Jeremy Spencer. Pretty cool, pretty cool. There's some good stuff on here. The Yardbirds, Roger the Engineer. This album opens up with Happenings 10 Years Time Ago, which has Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck on lead guitar, and it closes with Psycho Daisies, which has Jimmy Page playing the bass. The soundtrack to the movie Blow Up, which features the Yardbirds with Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck on dual lead guitar. There's a scene where the guy goes in there and the band is doing a rave up, and Jeff Beck smashes his guitar. And anyway, this is a really cool soundtrack by Herbie Hancock. I bought this when I was a teenager because it had the Yardbirds doing Stroll On, which is kind of like a Train Kept a Rollin' ripoff with new lyrics, and the dual lead guitar playing of Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. It's pretty cool. The last studio album released by the Yardbirds in the 60s, the Yardbirds Little Games, and here's one with an alternate cover. Live Yardbirds featuring Jimmy Page, a legitimate release released by Epic Records, but was quickly pulled off the shelves. A 2 LP bootleg of the Yardbirds, various songs from their storied career. Jimmy Page is on the Xerox cover. It was on here that I first heard the Yardbirds do Dazed and Confused. Screamin' Lord Sutch with his heavy friends. Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, John Bonham, Noel Redding, Nicky Hopkins. Some of the tracks feature John Bonham, Jimmy Page, and Noel Redding. And it's that particular song that Jimmy Page really stacks up the guitars a lot like he would in the introduction to Moby Dick on Led Zeppelin 2. Not only that, there's a jam on here. There's a song called Flashing Lights, which is something that, a jam that you would sort of hear on Led Zeppelin 3. The singing is but it's quite a novelty if you ever get to hear it. As a teenager, I discovered this album in Bergenfield, New Jersey, and it was my introduction to the bootlegged world of Led Zeppelin. These are BBC sessions, and they are of very high fidelity quality, I'll tell you what. Here is another bootleg that I found in Bergenfield. It's an album in a manila folder that it says Led Zeppelin, pop, rock, and something else. I don't know if we can pull it out here. I don't know if you're able to see that. And it says File Under Led Zeppelin. It's a two-sided album with one song on each side. Heartbreaker and Stairway to Heaven. Let me just show you this too. The vinyl, it has a splatter effect with a picture in the middle, and this is on both sides. Pretty cool, huh? Led Zeppelin rehearsals for the 1980 American tour that was ultimately aborted. They do White Summer, Kashmir, Achilles' Last Stand. It says Acoustic Page and then Stairway to Heaven. A muddy bootleg. To me, hands down, the best thing Jimmy Page has done post Zeppelin, the soundtrack to Death Wish 2, music of which was reused in Death Wish 3. And a bootleg of outtakes to go along with it. How about that? But coming up next is the granddaddy of them all. The vinyl box set, produced and remastered by Jimmy Page, Soundtracks. This is a jewel in my collection, and I have a video where I go through the booklet and talk about the music inside it. Not too long ago, a lost track was found and completed by the Rolling Stones that had Jimmy Page playing along with them in 1974, a song called Scarlet. And they released it as a one-sided 45 single with a sleeve that was a replica of the tape box. Jimmy Page has meant a lot to me because when I was first learning how to play guitar as a teenager, it was learning the music of Led Zeppelin that I found so gratifying because you had acoustic music, electric guitar, finger picking, open tunings, slide, blues wailing, learning chords and scales and riffs and odd time signatures. And Jimmy Page was a huge influence in that regard. And so when I really got into Zeppelin, I just went all in. And when I'm really into an artist, I go all in. And so in reading about them, I learned about the Yardbirds, and who ended up becoming one of my favorite bands of all time, not just the Jimmy Page era, but, the Jeff Beck, the Eric Clapton era, the whole thing. And so, and then by that, hey, I want to hear the blues. I want to hear the real guys that whose songs that they were covering, So it really was just expanding my musical interests and listening, and it's just it's more than rock and roll to me. But also too, the first concert I ever went to was the Mean Business tour of The Firm. I think that was in 1986, and I was a teenager. It was my first concert, and it was great. And then a couple years later, when Outrider came out in 1988, I saw that tour. And I gotta say, Jimmy Page played fantastic. I mean, I heard him do stuff on stage at that show that I just never heard him play before. I mean, that's just the way I remember it. And, obviously I'm not going to pull out all the Zeppelin albums, but I have a whole Zeppelin playlist where I talk about individual albums, I rank the albums, I tell you my top 10 favorite songs. If you're interested in hearing about it, well, go check it out. Jimmy Page turns 80. For many years, he's been saying that he's going to release an album. He's got material and all this and that. And, when you listen to like that Soundtracks box set, this is why, to me, it shows the broad depth of range that he has as a musician and a composer. Just what he did with Death Wish 2 and Lucifer Rising. I mean, Lucifer Rising, I've been waiting to hear for years, and so when Jimmy put it out on that box set, man, I just thought it was great. Now, it might drive a lot of people crazy. They might find it boring and lousy, but I love it, you know. So I just wanted to get all that out, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like, click the thumbs up icon, and if you really like what we do, is just set the camera down, hold stuff up and talk about it, well, subscribe to the channel, click all notifications so you always know when a new video drops, and let's all wish Jimmy Page a happy 80th birthday, and let's hope that, you know, we hear some of what some music that he you know, is ready to release. I'm ready to hear anything. He doesn't have to be, you know, a guitar hero all the time. He can really do whatever he wants, because he showed us that he could do whatever he wants, you know. And I find him a great creative mind, and I'm selfish in that regards, to where, you know, I don't want to see him tour with Zeppelin. That's the last thing I would ever want. I want him to do some new stuff. Where is Jimmy Page at now? I don't want to see him try and recreate 1973. I want to hear what he's doing, you know, now. And I think it would be interesting to hear, and I think a lot of people, you know, would go for it. And anyway, I'm just going on and on. I want to thank you for watching, and never be afraid to step into pleasure den of the absurd.